Hi Year 11, Mr. Wilson here. Today we're going to test if a solution contains sulfate anions. Sulfate anions are SO4 2-. Now to do that, I've got here a copper salt. It's a solution. We're going to see if it's got any sulfate anions in it. To do that we need hydrochloric acid and some barium chloride. So my first step is I'm going to take my copper solution that I want to know if it's got sulfate in it. I'm going to add, what's that, about 2 centimetres to my test tube. Then I'm going to take some dilute hydrochloric acid, add just a little bit of it. What this does, if there's any carbonate in there, it's going to react with the carbonates, produce carbon dioxide and water and remove the carbonates because the carbonate anion could interfere with our test. And then finally I'm going to add some barium chloride. And I'm going to show you this nice and clear, close in. Lovely white precipitate forms. Let's do that one more time. I'll get my solution that I want to test for sulfate. I'm going to add a bit of acid to remove any carbonate. So hydrochloric acid to remove carbonate. And then I'll add a little bit of barium chloride. And my white precipitate shows that sulfate is present. So there's 2 important things to note here. A precipitate is a solid that forms in a solution. It means it's forming an insoluble compound. Barium sulfate is what we're forming, and that's insoluble. So if the sulfate ions are present, they form insoluble barium sulfate, which is a white precipitate. The reason I had to remove the carbonate ions using the acid is that if the carbonate anions are present, they can also react with the barium and form a white precipitate, which is not something we want to look for. So that's why we got rid of the carbonate ions using the acid. Remember, if we ever want to test for carbonates, we need to add acid and look to see if carbon dioxide is produced. So to test for carbonate, you add acid, you look at the carbon dioxide produced, you look if the gas is produced, and then if that gas will turn lime water cloudy, it's carbon dioxide, and the acid must have reacted with the carbonate. So there you go, I've actually explained both there, the sulfate test and the carbonate test. Fantastic little bit of analytical chemistry.